this is Santiago Diaz, and this is another one of my talk assignments where I question everything and realize why do I study anything at all if everything is debatable. Now, my question here is if mathematical rules of concepts and entities are independent for human existence. And the truth, in my opinion, is that they are. They are completely independent. Why? Because unlike other areas of knowledge, math itself is not trying to produce and explain something. It has something that already exists. It has a variable j equals x. It already knows j equals x. And the reality is that we discover what makes that j equal something. And I know that this is very confusing, but you can see it in different equations. Different equations are not invented. They're not like sort of forcing this to be. In fact, the first thing that we look in mathematics is at the answer. And we look at to explain how the answer makes sense. And so the only reason that mathematics exists is to make a problem or a situation or a value be correct. So the only thing we look is if we have j, what makes j equals j? Okay, so what if I have to add, if I have to subtract, etc., etc. In fact, math explains everything, but that pattern is already set, and it is independent of anything that the person believes, because although there are different ways of reaching same solutions, the reality is that they have almost no human input. It will always be x plus x equals x squared, 2x. It will always be the same pattern will repeat itself and repeat itself. Why? Because every rule in math is focused on making an answer logical. And in fact, the only reason in math is that we do not force the answer, we look to explain the answer. And so that explanation, regardless of humans, will always be considered in real life. Now, for example, some people might say that the value of things and if numbers are real, if one exists, if quantities exist. But regardless of what we as a human have an input, it will always be the same pattern. Take calculus, for example. Isaac Newton invented calculus. And though I wish that I'd be intelligent and an apple fall into my head and I'd be smarter in physics, math, and anything else, because Isaac Newton was a real genius, Isaac Newton did not invent anything. He did not decide that f of x equaled the derivative or the slope of a function. Isaac Newton realized and discovered that in order for him to understand the value of an area that he already knew, that pattern and that specific sequence of equations explained the answer. So regardless of the value that it gives, and regardless of the name, regardless of whether it was real or not, that pattern exists, and that pattern is independent of a person. So I know that I surpassed 10 seconds, but specifically, my main answer is that we do not look to find an answer in mathematics. We look to find an explanation to the answer, and that explanation to the answer is found in nature. It is discovered, not invented.